If your mortgage interest rate starts with a 2 or a 3, paying extra on it every single month could cost you over $1 million. On a $400,000 loan at 2.75%, sending an extra $500 a month straight to your mortgage saves you about $64,000 in interest over the life of the loan. Now, if you take that same $500 and put it in the stock market instead, in over 30 years, it grows into more than $1.1 million. Today, I'm breaking down exactly when paying off your mortgage early actually makes sense, when it doesn't, and the 4 ways to do it if it does. Stay tuned. Okay, so let's start with why people don't want a mortgage in the first place. Everybody loves the idea of a paid off house and not having a mortgage payment. The bank doesn't own a piece of it, and it's a true weight off of your financial shoulders. Peace of mind definitely counts for something, but you also have to look at the math, not just the emotion. That same $400,000 mortgage costs you $187,867 in interest at 2.75%. You bump up the rate to 6.75%, and you're close to today's national average, and you're paying roughly $533,981 in interest on the exact same loan. It's the same house with the same amount borrowed, but almost 3 times as much the interest. So every dollar you throw at the principal also builds equity faster, which matters if you ever need a home equity loan for a renovation or a real emergency. So paying it off early isn't a bad instinct or a bad idea, it's just not always the right move. There's an opportunity cost associated with that decision. So these top 3 reasons are gonna be peace of mind, interest saved over the long term, and then faster/more equity, and ultimately just not having that bill over your head. We're gonna get into the interest saved portion, and we're really gonna get into the math between these two, but I just wanted to lay the groundwork with this visual right here. Okay, before we get into the math, let's talk about something called opportunity cost. Every dollar you send to your mortgage early is a dollar that can't do anything else. It's literally locked in the walls of your house, aka known as the equity of the home. So that's the whole opportunity cost argument, and it's the biggest one against paying off your house early. If you're locked into a low rate, that money could be earning a lot somewhere else. The bigger issue though is liquidity. Once that money is inside your house, it's not liquid anymore. You can't pull, $5,000 back out of your drywall when the transmission of your car dies, for example. So this is why step 1 before any of this is a fully funded emergency fund of 3 to 6 months. So what do I mean by that? 3 to 6 months of expenses sitting in cash untouched. This could be in something like SGov, a money market, a high yield savings account. So that's where this should be locked up, not in the walls of your house. If paying extra on your mortgage means draining that cushion, you're not getting ahead because you're one bad month away from a credit card balance sitting at 20+% interest, which is about the national average right now according to the Federal Reserve. So before we talk strategy and math, make sure that the emergency fund is already taken care of, because you don't want something to happen to where you already put money into your house, you can't get it out unless you cash out refi, use a HELOC or something along those lines, and then next thing you know, you're putting it on a credit card when it should have been in cash. So now that that foundation is laid, let's get into the 3 questions that actually decide what the best course of action is. Okay, once your cash cushion is solid from the previous section, everything else comes down to these 3 simple questions. Question 1, do you have that emergency fund we just talked about? If not, stop here. That should be your first priority. Question 2 is the most important one that dictates the rest of your decision making, and that is, what is your interest rate? Okay, this is what boils down the math versus the emotion, and this is gonna be probably your number 1 guideline here. A high rate makes it paying down more attractive. A low rate makes investing the extra dollars more attractive. Your rate is basically telling you the guaranteed return you'd get by paying it off early. A 6.75% mortgage means every extra dollar towards principal is guaranteed 6.5% return, and that's tax-free, risk-free, okay? A 2.75% mortgage means that same dollar is only guaranteed 2.75%, and the stock market has historically done a lot better than that over long periods. Even the 10-year treasury is yielding close to 5% at the time of this recording. It's somewhere around 4.75. So the third question are taxes and penalties, and this isn't the biggest one, but it's still worth knowing. If you itemize and you're actually using the mortgage interest rate deduction, paying off the loan early means losing most of that write-off, okay, or losing the entire write-off. Most people take the standard deduction now, so this affects far fewer households than you'd actually think, but check before you assume it doesn't apply to you or your situation. And ask your lender directly whether there's a prepayment penalty, because some loans still have them buried in the closing paperwork, though this isn't usually the case, but again, just double check. So take these 3 questions into consideration, specifically the interest rate, and your answer should be pretty straightforward. The next section is we're gonna finally get to the math, but before that, let's get into today's video sponsor, Policy Genius. My oldest daughter starts school next week, and between buying school supplies and figuring out new schedules, my to-do list is a mess. The one thing I made sure to check off my to-do list, however, is life insurance. I've got 2 kids and a house. If something happened to me, they'd still need to be taken care of. I actually got my own policy through Policy Genius, and it was way easier than I expected. The reason most people don't have it or don't have enough of it is that they assume it's expensive or complicated to figure out, but Policy Genius makes it easy. Policy Genius is a marketplace that lets you compare life insurance quotes from America's top insurers in just a few clicks. They lay out your options clearly. Coverage amounts, prices, terms, no guesswork. Their licensed agents walk you through the whole thing and handle all the paperwork. And they've got thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot. With Policy Genius, you can find 20-year life insurance policies starting at just $276 a year for $1 million in coverage, less than $1 a day. Before the school year gets even busier, take a few minutes to check one more important thing off your list. Head to policygenius.com/whiteboardfinance or click the link in the description to compare free life insurance quotes from top companies and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com/whiteboardfinance. Okay, let's really drive this point home with the same loan at 2 different rates because the rate changes everything. It's the entire point of the video. Say you've got a $400,000 mortgage at 2.75%, the kind a lot of people locked in back in 2020 and 2021. You add an extra $500 a month to your payment that pays the loan off 9.5 years early, and it saves you roughly $64,466 in interest. That sounds great until you look at the alternative. Take that same $500 a month and invest it instead using the stock market's long-term historical average of about 10% a year, and over that same stretch of time, it grows to $422,000, okay? Or $402,000, excuse me. That's more than 6 times what you saved in interest. Now flip the scenario. Same $400,000 loan, but this time at 6.75%, right around today's national average. That same extra $500 a month saves you $217,522 in interest and pays the loan off in 10 years and 8 months early. So invest that money instead, and it grows to $351,000 over here, which you can see. And investing still wins, but just not by much, obviously, because the interest rate is significantly higher and it's closer to that 10% number that we assumed. So this makes it about 60% more instead of 6 times more like in this first scenario. So in one scenario, it's not even close. The other scenario actually is. So this is where you need to make a decision. Are you going for, again, all the intangibles that we talked about, or are you going for pure math and mathematics? So whichever way you choose, it's not wrong, and we'll talk about 4 ways to actually pay it off if you do decide to go that route. Okay, if you've run the numbers and paying it off early actually is your move, here's how people do it. Here's 4 different ways you can do it. So option 1, pay it off in full if you've got the cash sitting there and the rate justifies it. This isn't common, but it happens, especially for someone who's close to retirement, who inherited money or sold a business, or you just sold a house in California and are now moving to East Cleveland. Congratulations. So option 2, make 1 extra full payment a year, okay? This is applied straight to principal. So if you've ever looked at an amortization table, you can see how much in a 30-year mortgage actually goes to interest and how much actually goes to principal. Pretty scary, okay? Most of it goes towards interest. So you barely feel it in your monthly cash flow, but it shortens the loan meaningfully over time. So option 3 is switch to bi-weekly payments, where you pay half your monthly amount every 2 weeks. So do the math on that, and you'll notice you end up paying or making 13 payments instead of 12 without really even trying to, okay? It's very effortless. It's kind of like paying yourself first. So some lenders won't set this up directly, so you might need a third-party service or just do it manually. And then option 4 is to refinance from a 30-year to a 15-year term. Yes, your payment goes up, obviously, but your rate usually drops and your total interest goes down significantly. These are 4 viable options for trying to pay off your mortgage early. Okay, if your rate is low and the math says invest, here's the order I'd actually do it in. First, make sure you're getting your full employer 401k match before adding a single extra dollar going anywhere else. That match is an immediate guaranteed return that no mortgage payoff can compete with, and I still can't believe how many people leave it on the table. This is literally free money, okay? After that's maxed out, a regular brokerage account is where extra dollars go to work, and unlike your 401k, you can access that money at any time without penalties, which matters if life happens before retirement. government. And if you've got specific goals, this could be a kid's college, it could be another house down payment on a rental property or just a bigger house. Just basically anything that you want to invest towards, maybe real estate investing, whatever. What this route does is that it keeps this money working without tying it up in the walls of your house. So again, none of this is really that complicated. It's just about getting the order right so free money and flexible money come before the guaranteed but often lower return of an extra mortgage payment. Again, depending on your rate is. If your rate is, 7, 8, 9, 10%, it may start to make sense based on the math. But if you're in the 2s or 3s, this is probably the order you want to go in first. Okay, as always, my thoughts at the end of the video. So I paid off my house. I don't have any debt at all, and I don't have a mortgage. The problem was I paid off a 2.49% 30-year mortgage. Yes, I'll repeat that, 2.49%. I did this when basically high-yield savings accounts were earning nothing, S-Gov was earning nothing. You were basically just praying and hoping that the stock market goes up. So my first daughter was born, and I'm like, you know what? I went into psycho dad mode and just said, hey, I want to build a strong foundation for my family. I paid it off. Guess what? Dave Ramsey's wrong. The grass doesn't feel different. You're still gonna have maintenance. You still have taxes. Your house could be paid off, but stop paying your property taxes and see who actually owns your house. Guess what? The government and the municipality that you're just renting from in the form of property taxes. You never really own your house in this country, okay? Let's just get that out of the way. Yes, it's nice not having a mortgage payment every month. Yes, it allows us to travel. Yes, it allows us to save. Yes, it allows us to be super aggressive on the investing and cash side of things, which is great. But in hindsight, I wish I never did it because inflation would have paid my house off for me, okay? If you just, kept that loan for 30 years, inflation does what it does. I probably should have just kept it. However, I was a new dad. I didn't panic. I had the money, but completely paid off, had no mortgage. And I will say this again. The grass doesn't feel different under your feet, okay? It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. You still have everything and all the headaches in terms of overhead that come with owning a home. Did it help me get through periods of time where, my business income was kind of all over the place? Absolutely. Is there a peace of mind factor? Absolutely. Do you want to have a mortgage into your 60s? Absolutely not, okay? But I was in my early mid-30s at the time when I did that. So in hindsight, I probably should have just left it alone for a little bit. Now, what I do want to talk about is my 7-day roadmap. If you guys need some help, this is a free Google Drive spreadsheet. Just hit file, make a copy. It's absolutely free. Number 2 is whiteboardfinanceuniversity.com. That's my private community. We have live streams every Thursday. I share everything with you. We have full courses on real estate investing, stock market investing, and budgeting. And then also, I will be making the transition to financial planning. YouTube is a never-ending hamster wheel. The algorithm is a black box. My videos aren't shown by the algorithm, which forces me to take on sponsorships. And then guess what? Everyone hates me for taking on sponsorships. So instead of working one-to-many, I'm just gonna do what I went to school for when I was 18 years old and getting my finance degree, and that's becoming a holistic financial planner, except I'm going to work for myself and launch my own registered investment advisory. That is not done yet, but if you wanna work with me, you can figure out how to do that down below. I have a little form, if you wanna check that out. I'm only going to be working with 40 households max, period. This is ongoing planning. This is not just, a one-off plan or whatever. Yes, I can help with that, but this is going to be an ongoing relationship probably until you or I die, okay? Or if I'm not doing a great job, which guess what? I will be, because I've been doing this for 20 years. All right, guys, thank you so much. That's the little spiel. Those are my thoughts. The grass doesn't feel different. Does it help alleviate pressure and mental stress? Of course. Does it give you options? Yes. But the math has to make sense. Thank you so much, and have a prosperous day.